Hey everybody, it's Dominic Rabina here from Profit Toolbelt. How are you doing? I just went live here. I put a comment for those of you who follow the group that we've got, which is called Profit Leaks, how to find and fix the profit leaks in your business. It's here on Facebook as well. I just posted a message there for those of you who are in that group, and we've got a live video going up today, sponsored by HES PV. HES is Home Energy Solutions. You can find them at hespv.ca. They are a solar industry provider and is a way to add value and reach out to people during this crisis. They've sponsored this whole sales series for solar installers, roofers, electricians, but also all the other trades who can benefit from learning these skills. Because the problem that we're all seeing right now is that people are a little cautious, if not afraid, if not mortified, freaked out by having people show up at their house to do a quote, to do work, etc. And so how do you survive and thrive in that market becomes the question, and that's what we are set out to do. So thanks to HES for doing that. We've got a great bunch of people there, and you can go check them out on their website, which is hespv.ca, and they've got lots of tools there for you, for anybody who needs to know the solar industry and installations and things like that. Today, we're going to talk about appointment setting in a time of instability, which we're in right now. Everything's been thrown on its head. It's been thrown on its ear. You can see that by the long lineups at Costco or wherever you get your groceries, or if you have to go to the hardware store, you see some, no surprise, right? So why, of course, would homeowners be nervous or cautious? Because they are, and we have to respect that. Now, if you want to stand out as a contractor, you have to understand how to build trust in the mind of the homeowner so that they will allow you into their house. Now, you have to look further than your transaction of doing the roof, doing the solar panel, getting their pool started up for the season, if that's what you're doing right now. It doesn't matter what trade you're in. They're thinking, well, what if my parents come over? What if my niece who's immunocompromised from something else comes over? I can't have somebody in the house who's sick or who doesn't take care of protocols taking care of me. I have to do everything I can to make sure that you're trustworthy. So we talk about trust breadcrumbs. Now, what we're going to go over today is a couple things. I'm looking at my screen here to make sure that I don't miss anything. So when you see me looking over here, it's not because I've got the cat or something about to jump on the screen. Today, we're going to be talking about the goal for appointment setting. So when we're in the appointment setting stage, which is only one of 7 stages in the selling process, it's actually stage number 3 of the 7. When we're talking about this, the goal of this is very important. What's the goal of appointment setting? It's to get an appointment, right? There's a little bit more to that, and we'll cover that off. So we're going to talk about the goal, we're going to talk about the best outcome, and then I'm also going to cover off something called trust tips. Now, if you're not familiar with trust tips, they're throughout this whole series. Go back and watch the other ones that I've already published here to Facebook and on the podcast, and you'll be able to see what the other trust tips are in steps 1 and 2, because they're very important for you to prove to the homeowner that you're trustworthy and that you're a company worth doing business with. Of course you are, right? That's why you're studying this kind of stuff and looking into this. So we're going to be doing that. The other thing I want you to know is that the language that we use here, the conversation we're having about appointment setting, about building trust with homeowners, this is aimed for those of you who want to go and do work with affluent homeowners. You know why? Why not? If you're going to go after clients, go after the clients who know they need you, can afford your services, and want the work done by the best people. That's you. So we're going to aim this at the affluent homeowner. Why not go after that market? It's your business. It's your choice. Why would we go after anything else? So that's what we're going to be targeting here. So these are decision makers who can and will make a decision to buy your product, service, installation, etc., and they want to do it in a reasonable amount of time. We're going to review where we are in the 7 steps. I kind of talked about that already. And then I'm going to be hammering home the fact that trust is the biggest factor in making a buying decision today. It's always been one of the big factors. There's 4 big factors at all times. Doesn't matter what economy, doesn't matter what market, doesn't matter if it was 2008, 2011, all the crazy things that happened in our lives then. Trust has always been one of the major factors. We're going to cover that off. And then we're going to talk about simple systems. Take a breath with me. Simple systems. Simple systems gives us as the business owner the chance, the opportunity to bring a little bit of clarity and remove a lot of insanity from our business. Simple systems that work. And there's a very simple system for setting an appointment with a homeowner. And if you follow that process every single time, you'll set more appointments, they'll be properly positioned, and you'll get more deals with the affluent homeowner. That's who we were just talking about, right? And then I'll talk a little bit about the next stage in this process, which is presenting. It's the actual sales process. This is why most other salespeople die when they go up against people who are well trained or somebody like myself. These guys think that the sales process is a one-step thing. It ain't. There's 4 steps that come before it. And so when they come in at step number 4, they've already strangled themselves. They've throttled their opportunity because they forgot about steps 1, 2, and 3. So let's get into that. All right. Let me go up here. I'm just going to check my notes for something. Let's go through while you're watching this. If you've got a pen and paper, write this down. We're going to draw a quick flow chart before we get into this, right? So we're going to talk about what the 7 steps to the selling process are. So step number 1 is prospecting. That's where you're going out and finding good suspects, people who might be good for you. So that's prospecting, right? That first part on your screen, right? Or on your page, sorry. After prospecting comes qualifying. So qualifying is where we ask a bunch of great questions and make sure that we're dealing with the right person in the right kind of application for the work that we do. And the person we're talking to can and will make a decision and has a budget for doing what we do. If you want to know more about this, go back and watch the previous episodes in this series. We did dive into it quite a bit. Then number 3 is appointment setting. That's what we're talking about today. Because once you've got the perfect person, how do you set that appointment and how do you get them moving in the process with you? And by the way, time kills deals. You want to make sure that all of these steps happen as quickly as they can in a reasonable way, but you never want more than 3 days, this many days, 3 days between each step. So we've got appointment setting, that's step number 3. After appointment setting comes presenting. Presenting is the sales presentation, the solution presentation, whatever it is you call it in your business, right? And the lesser salespeople, the guys that are going out there and just sort of bumbling around like one-legged penguins, don't know what they're doing, they just come in right at this stage and you and I can crush them all day long. And that's how you build your business, by the failures of others. How's that? Let's make sure we're the ones succeeding. All right. So we've got appointment setting, then we got presenting stage 4. Stage 5 is what's called closing. Now, closing is actually not the right word. Closing is something you do to somebody else. That's not what we're doing here. If you're a professional salesperson, then you're doing something we call consultative selling. Consultative selling. And so what you're doing is helping people to buy from you. I want to help people buy from me. I am by no means the greatest salesperson in the world. I'm not. What I'm really good at is finding people who want to buy what I sell and helping them buy it. That I'm very good at, right? So you have to think about what kind of salesperson you want to be. Do you want to be a used car salesperson, type of salesperson, or you want to be a solution provider, somebody who's truly there for the customer's good and best interest, who understands that if they need their roof redone, I am the best solution for that. If they need their house painted, I'm the guy. If you need your kitchen cabinets done, you have to go with me. I am the best. That's the kind of passion I want you to have when you go into this, and you're helping them buy from you in that situation. Stage number 5 is closing. And then after that is stage number 6, which is objection handling. Objection handling. We actually want objections from our clients. We want them to say, what about this and how about that? Those are good questions. That's a good thing, and we want that, right? So objection handling, and then we move into follow-up. So follow-up is step number 7. And after follow-up, we go right back up to prospecting. So it's a continuous cycle. Then we have to understand where we are in the cycle because we're doing different things at each stage in the cycle in order to help the consumer make the right decision, which is you. I mean, if you're really good at what you're doing, if you're the best retaining wall builder in the world, I need to use you when I need a retaining wall built. You need to help me understand that. Okay. So today we're going to be talking about appointment setting. Let me go back to my notes here. See, I have a system too. My system is to follow my notes. And when I don't follow my notes, I get in trouble. So there you go. So appointment setting is a stage. It's important that you script this. So one of the trust tips is that you script the appointment setting. Now, scripting doesn't have to be anything crazy, but you just want a consistent way to move the conversation from, hey, nice to meet you, to, hey, when are we going to get together to find out more about what you need, okay? So in appointment setting, the goal of this is obviously get an appointment. But differently than most people might think. When I set an appointment, here's how it looks. We're going to set a specific appointment on a specific day and time. So it's going to be on Tuesday at 2 o'clock. Not sometime this week or sometime Tuesday. That doesn't work. I want to be strong and confident in my position and I want to be respectful of the other person's time. So if we're going to have a meeting, it's going to be at a specific day and time. So Tuesday at 2, Thursday at 3, Friday at 5, whatever you choose to do, right? Whatever works for you and the client. You want to make sure that that appointment is made with all of the decision makers present. So what does that mean? So who's going to actually, in the old days, we would say write a check. Who's actually going to tap the credit card? Who's going to approve that payment? Now, if this is a homeowner and you've got a standard homeowner situation where it's a married couple and you've got a husband and a wife or whatever that couple looks like, one person's going to be the influencer and one's going to be the decision maker. Okay, one person's the influencer and one's the decision maker. They both need each other in this situation. Please don't be fooled when somebody says, yeah, I don't need to talk to my spouse, my partner. I can do it all. That you are building in an objection for yourself. Remember, we talked about stage number 6, which is when they bring up an objection that you can't get over. And that objection looks like this. After you've done all the presentation, they say to you stuff we've heard before, like, Dom, this has been great. You've been very thorough. I really appreciate this, but I really need to talk to my wife about this. Yeah, she promised I don't do anything until I talk to her. Well, all I did by not having her in that appointment is make sure that they had that ability to say that later. We're just slowing down the process. They're not actually going to get to work with me if we don't have everybody available in the appointment setting stage. So when you set an appointment with somebody, typically you're doing this by phone, you want to make sure all decision makers are present. So that let's just use the case of a husband and wife. Want to make sure both the husband and wife are there and they're available for the whole meeting. So I'm assuming here you're going to the customer site. They're not coming to your showroom or something like that. You're going to customer site. You're going to walk around their house. If it's yard work, you're going to go into the house. If it's something internal, I want to make sure both decision makers are there and uninterrupted. So that means during my presentation, you can't go walk the dog, and we have to find a way to make sure the kids are taken care of so that they're not pulling at mom and dad's legs and doing other things. Mom and dad need a minute to themselves to make this huge decision. If it's a roofing decision, we don't want the roof to leak. And we want it to look right so that they're proud of their home. And we want to understand all of the situations around the house to make sure that we're not making the neighbors a little bit angry or we're not doing something against the HOA or the strata council. So, things have to get done right. These are important questions, and mom and dad need to be very focused on this. That's why I need both of them there in that meeting. So you're going to want to script that. You're going to want to script what you want to say and how you want to say it to make sure all decision makers are present. I know I'm putting a lot of time into appointment setting, and some of you are thinking, Dom, I just pick up the phone, call them, tell them I'm coming by. Sure you do. That works. Yeah. You want to know what works better? What works better is having all decision makers present who can and will make a decision, have the money to do it, are the perfect clients, and understand exactly what it is that you do, right? They understand what you do. So let's just choose another trade right now. Let's say that you do solar as an example, but you're a solar specialist, not a roofing specialist. And they think, well, you're the solar guy. Can't you just do a couple of roofing things for us? No, we don't do that. Now, if you're a roofing company, and you can do solar, they need to know that as well, because they might be getting a roofing and a solar quote separately. You need to know those things, and they need to understand it too, right? So the best outcome, by the way, when I get on the phone with the homeowner, is that we set that appointment in the next 3 days. So that means if we have the conversation on Monday, I want to make sure that we are meeting face-to-face as quickly as possible. So that means either Tuesday or Wednesday. If it goes to Thursday, if it slides to Friday, if it goes to the next week, you are going to lose that sale. The chances of you losing that sale start to go up really high. So you want to make sure that you have no more than 3 days in between those meetings, right? That's appointment setting. It's very strong. And if you get away from that as a system, you find yourself getting in a bit of trouble. The trust tips here are to clarify your process. So I want you to say things that show me you have a system in place. So when I'm calling you and you're the homeowner, I want to say things to you like, Mr. and Mrs. Jones, just so you know, when I show up, I'll be wearing gloves. And I'll have a clipboard with me, and I'll use that clipboard to take notes for the day. We're going to be looking at your roof. I might need to get up on the roof with a ladder. I'd like to have one of you there to hold the ladder while I go up on the roof. Now, many of you know that I don't need you to hold the ladder to go up on the roof, but I need you to hold the ladder while I go up on the roof. I need you there. I need you with me, because we're going to talk our way around the house, right? I need you there. I need to show you something. I learned this from Brian Tracy. Brian Tracy is an absolute master in the world of sales and sales improvement. Many of you have read many of his books, and I've been his business partner for the last, I don't know, over a decade. Brian and I have been working together. So I've learned my sales and sales techniques and sales training techniques from the best in the world. And one of the things that he always reminded us is that you have to be in front of the customer, and they have to be focused. Has to be both decision makers, and they have to be there because I need to show you something. I need to draw something out for you. I need to sketch it out. I need us to both go look at the condition of the house on the outside. I need to show you where it's leaking. I need to show you where the crack is. I need to show you where the birds are getting. I need to show you that stuff. I'm the expert, and I want to show you. I want to teach you. So that's why it's important to have them there. So make sure that you clarify the process with them, right? We're going to walk around the house. I'm going to need you to hold the ladder. I'm going to get up on the roof. After that, we're going to have a discussion. This is how it works. We're going to have a discussion about what we find, and I'll be able to make some suggestions for you on solutions that work for you and your family. How does that sound? So lay it out in a formula that shows them we do step 1, then we do step 2, then we do step 3. That formula builds trust, showing people that you have a system, not some random helter-skelter conversation that goes off in a gajillion directions, right? If you're going to be going on site, especially today when we've got this pandemic and I don't know if we're in the middle of it. Are we in the eye of the storm? Or are we at the edge of it? I don't know. I'm not that guy. That's not why I'm here doing a video. But what I do know is that I need to ask the homeowner, hey, before I let you go, what are the concerns you and your husband and your family have about having somebody else come to your house? If they say nothing, say, okay, well, do you still want me to wear gloves? Do you want me to wear a mask? What's the protocols that you would like held at your house? Now, they might think, oh, that's a lot of overkill. But there's going to come a point in time when they say, we talked to 3 companies to do our solar and I'll just say solar and roofing. We talked to 3 companies to do our solar and roofing. As you know, only 2 of them responded. And the 2 that showed up were both okay. They both gave kind of the same overview of what was going to happen. There's really nothing different, right? But geez, I'll tell you, that Dominic guy, he was very specific about cleaning protocols and health protocols. And he just seemed to have his systems down. His branding was good. He was very communicative. He responded quickly. I think we should go with Dominic. That's what we want for you. You want them to understand that you're to be trusted, that you're a professional, that you take this seriously. Okay? So that's appointment setting. Make sure you have all decision makers present. You want to make sure that you've confirmed the date and the time, that you show up on time. We've got some other trust tips I could throw in here, but we're not going to do that today. There's lots of other trust tools to add in there. You want to make sure they have undivided attention, and you want to make sure that you set that appointment with them and clarify it. There are a couple of tech tools I can share with you right now. One of them is called Calendly, Calendly. Calendly.com it's a tool that I use to push my calendar to somebody and say, click this button, and you can see all of my available times. Choose the one that works best for you. And so for the way I do my business, you can choose a 20-minute, a 30-minute, or 60-minute, or a 90-minute phone call, right? Depending on the kind of conversation we're using, I'll send the right link to that person. But then they can see my whole schedule and they go, well, Tuesday at 2 looks good, like it works for us. That's a very efficient and effective way of doing things, and it's a great use of online tools. Calendly is just my suggestion. I'm sure there's other tools out there. Calendly is good for one-on-one appointment setting. If you have a situation where you've got multiple people you're trying to get on site, let's say you've got an inspector, you got a product specialist, maybe you have somebody from the HOA, the Homeowners Association, in some areas it's called the Strata Council, that's already 3 people. Do you know what it's like to set an appointment with 3 people? What a disaster. How many emails does that take? How much time of your life will you never get back? Oh, by the way, we got to get your schedule in there. We got 4 people. So the website or the service that I use for that when I want to schedule multiple people to one time is a service called, don't laugh at the name, it's called Doodle. Doodle.com. Doodle.com. Crazy funny name, but it works. What that does is I push out a selection of dates and times to all 4 of these people, and everybody votes on what time works best for them. They can say yes, maybe if I have to, or no. Wow. Now you've just taken that whole crazy 65 emails back and forth trying to get everybody's schedule arranged, and you've turned it into one central tool. You just push out to everybody. Everybody chooses their best time. You go back and look at the main page and you say, look, all the green tick marks line up here for Thursday at 3. Let's do Thursday at 3. So that's doodle.com. Use that if you want to set it with multiple people. Wherever possible, use your tools like this. You've got Skype, you've got Zoom. I happen to love Zoom, right? You can do Facebook Lives as you're walking around site with somebody. You just have to make sure that whatever tool you use, you might be comfortable with it, but is the other side comfortable with it? Because if you've got bad connection, if they don't know how to use it, there's going to be frustration introduced into the selling process. Now, if there's frustration between both sides, guess who's going to get painted with the frustration brush? This guy, right? We used to have a rule at one of my other companies that we never had financial discussions on Skype video. This was in the older days of Skype when Skype was unreliable. If you were going to talk about money, you couldn't do it on Skype, because if the connection went down, it always went down at the worst possible time. And you just really want to make sure that those frustrations are kept in check. It's thinking about these small things that shows the business owner you'll take care, or the homeowner, I'm sorry, that you'll take care of the small things. And that's what I want to set you up for. Okay. And then do your planning and make sure that you have everything at hand when you show up on site. I know we're in appointment setting. Next, we're going to be talking about presenting. That's the next video in this series, right? When I spoke to the guys at HES, Home Energy Solutions, HESPV.ca, when I spoke to those guys, this is one of the challenges they've seen in the field, is the dealers in the field showing up to do a quote or a bid and not having paperwork in hand. I know it sounds crazy to some of you. I've seen all sorts of weird things. That one drives me crazy, mental. Why would you not have paperwork in hand ready for the client to sign? Or today, we need an electronic version of that. So we're going to be talking about that. The next stage is the presenting stage. It's the one everybody talks about. Sales, it's the sales presentation. But don't forget, that's stage 4 of 7. And right now, we're in step number 3. So I want to see you on that next episode. Watch back here on Facebook. It'll be a Facebook Live. This is also being published on the podcast, which is called Profit Toolbelt. Crazy name, exactly the same as the Facebook page. And you'll be able to follow along in this series there. If you have salespeople in your company, I'd suggest you have them watch these series as well. I try to keep them to around 20-25 minutes. We are at 22 minutes right now, so I'm going to wind it up. Thanks very much, everybody. I hope you're all well. I hope you're safe. And thank you very much to HESPV.ca for sponsoring this series. Have a great day, and I hope to talk to you all face-to-face one day soon.